Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of Practice Time with Amy
and Jamie.
And today we have a special treat for you. We have a guest here today.
And this guest is a coworker of mine and dear friend, Alex Milligan. She's also a licensed marriage and family therapist. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning. So happy to be here for my first time with Deliberate Practice. Been very curious about your program for a while, so I'm excited to see a little bit of it in action. As Jamie said, I'm a coworker of hers. We work in community mental health together in Philadelphia, and I also work in a private practice in Wayne.
We're very excited to lure in someone else from our community. And then, of course, I'm Jamie. I work with Alex very closely as a family-based therapist in the Philadelphia area, and I am part of the Sentio team.
And I'm Amy. I'm a relational therapist also in Philly. We got some Philly therapists here today, and I'm also part of the Sentio team. And super fun today to switch things up. Alex, who hasn't done deliberate practice before, so I'm very curious how you'll experience it and how it'll be for you. Also, we have Alex here today because we're going to do an exercise that needs two clients. So Jamie and I will be the clients today. Alex will be being our therapist. Alex will be the therapist. And we're continuing our practice of systemic family therapy. And today we're doing exercise 4, interactional structuring, de-escalation. And I'd love to hear Alex and Jamie. I think this is something you both are really familiar with in your work.
Yes. So with the work Jamie and I do together, there's a lot of de-escalation that needs to happen. And ultimately, like what de-escalation means is like bringing the focus back to the structure of the session, which is a vital skill for any therapist. It's something that's going to take a little bit to get comfortable with.
Yeah, that was perfectly said. And I think it is really important to highlight that this is a skill that really takes a while to feel comfortable with. But particularly this idea of interrupting an interaction that's escalated and taking place right in front of you, that can feel very overwhelming and potentially intimidating for both new and experienced therapists.
And so we have 3 skill criteria today. Criteria 1 is make a statement that interrupts the couple family from their current negative interaction or links current interaction to their pattern. Criteria 2 is validate the importance of the issue and or the underlying needs for all parties involved. And criteria 3 is set a specific boundary related to what the clients say. For example, no name calling, blaming, interrupting, yelling, and how they say it. Everything goes through the therapist. So that was wordy. There's a lot of criteria here, but to simplify, criteria 1 is make a statement that interrupts the current negative interaction. Criteria 2 is validate the importance of the issue. And then criteria 3 is set a specific boundary for what clients say and how they say it. So again, Alex will be our therapist. Jamie and I will be the clients. With this round of practice, we'll give you a little more context to who the clients are before each statement. So this first client statement is a couple. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't really know why I'm here. This is his problem, and until he decides to fix it, we're done.
It's my problem? What are you talking about? You're the one who's bipolar and borderline.
So let me kind of get an idea of what's going on a little bit here. So I want to take a pause and interrupt you guys. It sounds like you both have some differing points of view about what's going on here. And that can be really confusing in couples therapy when not everybody's on the same page. So let's just take a step back. Let's try to keep things in a safe place, feeling good. And, let's direct some of these comments through me. Like, let me help you funnel them and, maybe give them back in a way that your partner might be better able to hear and understand.
Beautiful.
You blush. Role plays are so hard.
They are. Mm-hmm. So looking back at the 3 criteria First, make a statement that interrupts. Yes, you absolutely did that. And you were even pretty overt about that. Like, I'm going to pause you. I'm going to kind of interrupt this for a second. Validating the importance of the issue. You said something along the lines of, like, I recognize like this can be hard or confusing. So I think you did a pretty good job meeting that one. Maybe could be like a little bit more clear on validating that. And then for criteria 3, I like how you said, like, let's direct these comments kind of through me so that I can help you deliver this in a way that's, that your partner will be able to receive it. I thought that was beautiful.
Okay, so let's check out the example response. Again, the statement is, I don't really know why I'm here. This is his problem, and until he decides to fix it, we're done.
It's my problem. What are you talking about? You're the one who is bipolar and borderline.
And the therapist example response from the book is, okay, so I'm having a bit of trouble following everything here. Can we slow things down a bit? One of my responsibilities as a therapist is to help you both feel comfortable with the direction we are going in therapy. In fact, I think that would be an ideal focus for today, if you're open to it. To do that, I would just ask that you hold off on blaming and name calling and talk with me rather than your partner. Sound good?
How was hearing and reading that response for you, Alex? Was that helpful?
Absolutely. I think it's important to name the things that you're working on. So giving clients some of that language is really beneficial. I think it's great.
Awesome.
Ready for another statement?
Okay.
Okay.
So this again is a couple. I'd really like to talk about the other day when she blew up on me, and I didn't even know what she was talking about.
Ugh, really? I said I was sorry. What about all those times you've blown up on me? You don't see me wanting to talk about them, do you?
So, as I'm listening to you guys talk, I'm wondering if this is kind of what I would see at home when you guys were like going back and forth about an event that might have happened. So I'm a little curious about that. And I also really want to validate that, hey, it seems like you're both not quite sure what's going on here and are both having some really difficult feelings. Let's take a minute and slow down. We have plenty of time to discuss these things. And I want to, try to take turns, maybe somebody can talk for a few seconds and then we'll let that other person talk without interrupting. We'll see how that feels. And then we can come back and discuss it as a group.
Amy, now you know why I'm always like, yo, Alex is
Great.
phenomenal. Again, as the client, that response felt great and very, validating while also helping me get some structure there. Let's pivot and look at the criteria. Criteria 1, I do think you met criteria 1, definitely by, interjecting and slowing the session down. Criteria 2, you definitely met criteria 2 in validating the issue. And you even were a little bit more explicit this time around compared to the previous one you did and said, like, I just want to validate this for you. And then you kind of carried that into criteria 3 was setting a specific boundary. And that specific boundary that you set this time was, we're not going to interrupt each other. And we're going to, one person will take a couple of seconds to speak, and then we will transition and allow the other person to speak. So you were very, very clear and specific. So that was awesome.
All right, let's try it again. I'd really like to talk about the other day when she blew up on me, and I didn't even know what she was talking about.
Ugh, really? I said I was sorry. What about all those times you've blown up on me? You don't see me wanting to talk about them, do you?
Yeah, so I want to just take a pause here. You guys are bringing up things that sound really important to you and something that maybe for one of you feels resolved and for the other one doesn't. So let's just take a moment and highlight that. I want to also validate how hard that can be when one partner feels like something's been finished and set to the side and the other partner is still bringing it up. Let's just for now, let's open that space up a little bit more. Partner 1, I do want to give you a little space to tell me what you're talking about. And then, partner 2, I just kind of want you to sit there for a second. I will definitely come back to you and make sure there's space for your response. But Yeah, I am curious. I want to hear a little bit more about what happened. Let's give it a try.
Nice.
Great. Before either Amy or I go into any feedback, what was that like for you giving it a second try, right? Same prompt, same content we're giving you. How was it giving it to us a second time?
I think it was really helpful. So often when you're getting into a couple situation, you have like, two people in front of you, it can feel intimidating to find the perfect words. And I think what was helpful about doing it a second time was I gave myself permission to like think a little bit more before I respond. Which I remember when I first started doing couples work, I thought I had to like fly off the handle with a response, and that it is really appropriate. And you could even say to clients, like, I'm just going to take a second to think about what I want to say. It's great for you to actually give you that second, but as a modeling behavior for your clients, that's really awesome too. So I think doing it a second time reminded me of that I could take a minute and think about things.
So well said.
Thank you.
And looking at the criteria for that statement, I think you definitely met criteria 1 by interrupting, really saying, let's pause here. I really liked your validation for criteria 2, saying like, it sounds like there's really difficult things to talk about, and it's really hard when there's kind of differing ideas of how resolved it is. I really liked that. And then your specific boundary, I think you met criteria 3, saying, I'm going to listen to partner 1, and partner 2, you're going to just listen. I think you maybe could have been a little bit more specific in the boundary of, we're going to talk only one at a time. But that's just kind of nitpicky. I think overall you really met all the criteria.
What do you think, Alex? One more, little more challenging this time?
Yep, I'm all set.
So this statement is a family with 2 parents. So we had another issue with our daughter this week. My partner was home, so I ended up handling it. I actually think it went pretty well. At least she didn't erupt.
Not that you saw. I heard all about it that night. Really, I don't know why you just went and handled it yourself. You should have consulted me. And I honestly think it made matters way worse.
So I want to pause you guys right there. In order for me to best be able to help you and for the 2 of you to be able to feel heard, I want us to refrain from interrupting each other. I want to just make sure everybody gets those words out. But I do want to say it can be really hard when someone's saying something that you disagree with to not give in to interrupting. So I just want to highlight that can be really challenging. So I would really, if this is okay for you guys, I would like to kind of go back to where we were before the interruption, let you parent 1 finish what you were saying. And then parent 1, when you're done, I do want to turn to you, parent 2, and give you a chance to finish what you were saying. Because it sounds like, hey, something really big happened, and I want to make sure I'm understanding fully so I can help you guys out the best way I can.
Fire, right? Take a bow.
You're going to give me a big head.
So checking out the criteria. Criteria 1 absolutely met that criteria. I love how you even connected criteria 1 and 2 and validated, actually you connected all the criteria by validating that it's so easy to want to interrupt. And so you just seamlessly wove all of them together into this like really nice package, because in the way that you set the boundary by, not interrupting, you did it in this way that was very structured, and very supportive at the same time. I just thought that was great.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was really smooth and met all the criteria and felt really good. I loved the validation of like, yeah, it's really hard not to interrupt, and we're not going to interrupt. How would you feel to try that one again, just for some practice?
Oh, absolutely.
So we had another issue with our daughter this week. My partner was home, so I ended up handling it. I actually think it went pretty well. At least she didn't erupt.
Not that you saw. I heard all about it that night. Really, I don't know why you just went and handled it yourself. You should have consulted me, and I honestly think it made matters worse.
Yeah, so I'm going to just pause you guys right there. It sounds like something really big happened. And, I want to make sure that we're creating the space for both of you to be able to share what's going on. It can be hard when somebody is sharing something that you disagree with or you had a different experience with to not interrupt. I also want to say it can be really hard to both have different experiences of your child. So though I do want to go back and hear a little bit of what happened, could we just take a moment and do like a check-in about like how we're feeling about your partner each having such a different experience of your child? Let's start with you, parent two. What are you feeling right now?
Great. You met criteria 1 by addressing, making that statement about the interrupting the system, the interaction that was happening. You met criteria 2 by validating the importance of the issue that was happening. And I like that in this one too, you highlighted what that meant for the family system, right? Because even though the child child wasn't present, you brought it back to the family.
Yeah, and Alex, I think that you met criteria 3 by setting a boundary of, talking one partner talking at a time. I think my only feedback is getting more specific about that boundary, right? That maybe the clients are going to keep interrupting or keep doing whatever they're doing. And so I wonder if being more explicit of we're not going to interrupt here, or we're going to take turns talking, which you definitely did in some of the statements. I think in this last one, maybe you could have been a bit more specific, but overall, really, really impressed with with your practice today. I'm kind of shocked that it's your first time. I'm understanding what Jamie means of how great a therapist you are.
If I could just highlight what these, past couple examples have been like for me, it's so important to just brush up on the basics over and over again. I've been feeling more confident with each one. I was a little anxious logging on today. So I've noticed that I've been more regulated and my de-escalation has gone down, with like the repetition of this. So it's been really interesting to kind of brush up on some of the basics in this specific way.
It was really great to bring in a licensed marriage and family therapist that has been working in the field for years. And again, someone who works both in family-based and private practice. And we will have some of Alex's info too in the description below, just in case you're curious about Alex.
Thank you so much for joining. Great, great practice. And we will see you next time with Practice Time with Amy
and Jamie.